This is fine. This is fine. This is a poor substitute for therapy, but an excellent substitute for other podcasts.
We're not like other podcasts.
Join us as we find the answers to the universe's biggest questions like, is butter a carb? Does crying burn calories? And what the fuck am I doing with my life? We're here to be your part-time therapist, astrologer, concierge doctor, and fairy godmother. Do you need someone to validate you today? Cool. Come on in. We're fine. This is fine. You guys, today we're going to talk about diarrhea. I'm serious. This is the highly requested poop episode. If that grosses you out or makes you uncomfortable, I'm not going to ask you to leave because I actually think you should hang out and try to overcome that discomfort. Everyone poops, you guys. It's as normal as breathing. But seriously, this is your trigger warning. Today's episode may or may not include an account of two girlies experiencing concurrent, simultaneous explosive diarrhea. You have been warned. Welcome back to episode 10 of This Is Fine. Are you feeling fine? Great. Excellent. As Hot Girl Summer marches on, I couldn't not serve you up some more hot girl topics. All you hotties out there, do you have stomach problems? IBS, perhaps? Are you bloating for no reason? Trust, we've all been there. According to a statistic I'm making up literally right now, 100% of Americans have had a stomach problem at some point in their lives. The statistic goes up by 50% if you identify as a hot girl. But according to the board-certified gastroenterologist we're chatting with today, my guesstimations are actually not that far off, so take that, science. That's right. We're talking to an MD today, a certified hot doctor, Dr. Susan Case, MD, as well as a real live hot girl with IBS, my regulation hottie best friend, Olivia Luce. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma, this is not the episode for you. But if you or a loved one have ever dealt with bloating, digestive distress, constipation, upset stomach, diarrhea, hey Pepto-Bismol, IBS/IBD, or an autoimmune disease affecting your GI tract, this is definitely the episode for you. Let's get down to it, shall we? Welcome. You guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, that's my cue. Guys, this is going to go so well. I can't wait.
It's going amazing. Okay, so that was Olivia.
Okay.
Okay, so Olivia, would you like to introduce yourself? Since we're off to a great start.
Hello, I'm Olivia, and I have IBS. I'm Olivia. I am Dom's best friend. We've known each other since our Pi-Fi days, but specifically when Dom was crying in the bathroom about one of her...
It was a living room.
No, it was a bathroom.
You're
I remember
right.
I
was crying everywhere.
The bathroom was not yet redone, second floor.
Yep.
And you were crying about a boyfriend that I don't even remember his name, to be honest.
Honestly, same.
It's all irrelevant.
But also, like, the fact that you're a Cancer and you met your best friend while she was crying in the bathroom. On brand. Okay, back to you, Susan.
Yes. Hey, everyone. My name's Dr. Case. I am a gastroenterologist, and my area of expertise is inflammatory bowel diseases and irritable bowel syndrome. I not only am a IBD, IBS warrior, but I too am both a physician and a sufferer. So I'm so excited to be talking about my very, very favorite subject matter, all things poop. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be talking about hot girl IBD, IBS summer. Let's do this, ladies.
Yes. Okay. I'm so happy we have two certified hotties with IBS, IBD. Fantastic way to kick this off. And just to get all the listeners up to speed, this whole concept of breaking taboos, normalizing these lived experiences, it's something that I've always wanted to do with this podcast. So if I have to do that by sharing some humiliating stories about my poop, then I will. But let's first talk about the trend at hand. This is something that really blew up on TikTok, made its way over to Instagram. The whole hot girls with stomach problems became hot girls with IBS. I'm going to read a couple quick excerpts. This first one is from Insider, and hopefully this brings you up to speed. All hot girls constantly farp. Sorry, I'm going to start over.
Oh, farp is a new concept. Everyone, get ready for it. It's a new
fart and burp is one thing now. All right,
it does happen. It does happen.
I like it.
A farp.
I like it. You should go
Yeah.
with it. We should definitely
Just keep
run with
it. We're still rolling. Okay. All hot girls constantly fart, burp, bloat, and suffer from constipation and diarrhea. That's according to TikTok, where it's become trendy for women to share their experiences of living with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, a common digestive disorder. According to Insider, hashtag #HotGirlsWithIBS has garnered 11.8 million views on TikTok. And not only do these videos help raise awareness of the condition, TikTok commenters say that they are helping to normalize the idea that women, well, poop. Amen to that. Second quick little excerpt. We've got one from a blog called The Edge, author Alexa Morrissey. After suffering in silence for so long, people are now taking to social media proudly to banish the IBS stigma and step into their power, gas, bloating, and all. Decades of putting women upon the delicate flower pedestals, which perpetuated impossibly high standards of cleanliness and modesty, pushed the notion that girls don't poop, and led to silence about defecation. But now, women on TikTok with gut issues have had enough. I feel like that's a pretty good summary.
I like it.
No, I think so too. Definitely. I mean, IBS affects between 25 and 45 million people in the United States. And it's about time we start talking about it, because I think there's such a stigma that people, male and females alike, are so embarrassed to talk about their bowel habits. Right. And sometimes these patients think that this is the norm, and it's not. These patients could also have what we call concerning alarm symptoms that warrant aggressive evaluation in a very timely fashion. So if you're so afraid to talk about it, you won't seek the medical help you need. That could eventually lead to something, catastrophic, like a malignancy that leads to death. So I think it's great that people are going to social media, putting some humor behind it, and starting up the conversation so that more sufferers that are suffering in silence can find the help they need, because it is a legitimate disease, and it does affect so many individuals' quality of life.
Right.
And about 2 in 3 IBS sufferers are female.
Wow.
So that's quite astonishing.
Yeah, so it mostly affects women. And what I got from what you just said is that by talking about poop, we're going to save some lives.
Absolutely.
Amazing. I love that. So these people who are suffering in silence, it seems like, about a third are men, 2/3 women, not counting. A lot of this medical data doesn't include, gender nonconforming. So I want to make sure we're feeling inclusive, but that's where the data,
That's what the data we have thus far.
Yeah.
Of course, as we progress into the future, we'll break it down further. But interestingly, it's thought that only 10 to 15% of adults will actually reach out for further evaluation.
Right. Wow. So it's very few people are reaching out, and it's a lot of women. And I think
it's a lot of women.
This trend is kind of coming back to the crumbling facade of girls don't poop, girls don't fart. And I know Olivia and I really face this every once in a while. We talk to our friend Patrice. Hi, Patrice. We're going to force you to listen.
Hey.
You're on the spot, Patrice. So we talked to her ahead of time, and we were like, would you listen to an episode about poop? And she was like, absolutely not.
She's going to listen to it.
Why not? Everybody should, because as we said, everybody poops.
Yes.
And all poop is not normal.
Yes, but normalized poop, but not all poops are normal. It's like a square. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is no square.
Exactly. Something along those lines.
For sure.
So it's so very important that we talk about this. I remember when I was in high school, I had a friend whose son was so traumatized when he found he was like maybe like 10 years old, was traumatized because he found out that his mom poops.
Oh my God.
He really thought that females were so delicate and beautiful that they couldn't poop. They didn't make stinky poop.
my
So
God.
I was just like, wow. Like,
It's like a psychological phenomenon.
Yeah, seriously.
exactly.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's important to recognize that, like, okay, well, for one, the idea of what is femininity is very broad, but also the
Right.
concept for those who ascribe to the more, I don't know, delicate, feminine, you guys know what I'm saying, like
yes.
girly pop, princessy kind of feminine.
Sure.
Yeah.
That and like pooping is obviously not mutually exclusive. Every single creature on this earth has to defecate.
Yes. As my brother says, better out than in. Right?
Exactly.
Also,
No,
I think
actually.
Shrek also says that.
Does Shrek actually say
Shrek-
that?
Oh, does he
Shrek
too?
100%
Okay.
says that.
Love a good Shrek reference and leave it to you to bring that
Absolutely.
up. Thank you, Olivia. Your first podcast. You're doing
Just
amazing.
adding some color over on the side.
Okay, so Dr. Case, let's
Yes.
just recognize how common the not normal pooping, right? I mean, that's a very loose way of saying normal, not normal. But you know, the conditions and symptoms of things like constipation, diarrhea, bloating, IBS, IBD.
Right.
This is a really broad area. Obviously, this is your area of expertise. Can we break down just how common this is?
Yeah. So basically, like I said, IBS affects between 25 and 45 million people in the
many.
United States. Again,
Wow.
the most common being female, but only probably 5 to 15% actually seek out help.
Wow.
With that being said, so we need to clarify two acronyms.
Okay.
IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, and IBD, which is inflammatory bowel disease.
Okay.
These are not the same things. These are completely two different disease processes.
Cool.
So IBD is one that is thought to be a combination of an abnormal immune system with the individual having genetics for that, along with environmental exposures that in a perfect storm bring to the fruition inflammatory bowel disease, which comes in two flavors, ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease.
Wow.
And that's treated with medications that actually suppress the immune system because it's the immune system that is acting abnormal
Okay.
and hyperactive, where it's actually recognizing your respective digestive system as foreign and attacking it, leading to the two different entities. Ulcerative colitis only affects your colon, while Crohn's disease can affect any part of your GI tract, starting from your mouth all the way down to the lovely anus.
Okay. Wow.
So yes, so a lot of people confuse the two. They're
Yep.
not the same. Like I'll have patients come and say, I have IBD. Like, well,
No.
how do you know you have IBD? Have you had a colonoscopy with biopsies? No. Okay, well, it's a diagnosis made off of colonoscopy biopsies and obviously the symptoms that you have, which will lead us down that path to further evaluate for such. Now, with IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome,
Right.
that itself comes in three flavors. It comes in IBS dominant constipation, IBS dominant diarrhea, or IBS mixed. That is, they have both constipation and diarrhea.
Oh, it's like on, off, on, off. Ouch. Okay.
Yep. And so this is more what we believe is due to the gut-brain axis dysfunction.
Okay.
So it's treated very, very differently than inflammatory bowel disease. It is not treated with medications that suppress your immune system.
Okay.
So the things that we look at when we are trying to figure out what is driving this patient's irritable bowel syndrome. Is it something environmental, meaning is it a heightened degree of stress from something? Is it something related to one's diet? You've heard like the FODMAP diet.
Right. It's a hard diet.
You should change.
Yeah, it is.
It's a hard diet. Yeah. But it's a misnomer and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
And then is it something that your own microbiome is not in balance, meaning the good guy, bad guys are off balance and not in a symbiosis, living symbiotically, in which we need to correct that.
Okay.
So it could be one of those three things driving it, or it could be all three. And that's up to finding the right physician to feel comfortable enough to talk to and who's going to take the time to listen to the patient instead of minimizing their symptoms. And I've had patients come in and say, you're like the 5th doctor I've seen. Every doctor says it's all in my head and drink more water and just eat more healthy.
Right.
And it's not all in their head. And there are things that we can do. And they're just so relieved and grateful when we can finally do the workup accordingly and figure out what's driving the IBS.
Totally.
So that's a little bit of a
crash course.
Insight there. A crash course on IBS, IBD, which we should get out of the way very early so we don't confuse anybody as we go further along in this amazing podcast about IBS and pooping.
Thank you so much for that clarification. That was really helpful for me.
You're
And I know
welcome.
Olivia in a little bit will get more into her very specific diagnosis as well. Before we dive too deep into the diagnoses, I would love to get your take on a syndrome or something that's diagnosable versus maybe a passing fleeting experience, or maybe I just have kind of a little bit of a sensitive stomach, but I don't have, full-blown IBS. How does someone tell the difference between those things?
I think it's hard to tell the difference. I think what happens is, when we make diagnosis of IBS or IBD, we start asking about bowel habits from when they were a child through their present. And we ask them, what do you define as your normal bowel habits? Maybe you've been having this for a very long time and thought this is normal. Some people think diarrhea all the time is normal, or some people think only pooping once every 5 days is normal. That is not normal, people.
No.
And diarrhea around the clock is not normal either.
Right.
So there's specific criteria for both to make that diagnosis. And there's a workup that needs to happen in order to distinguish between the two. As an individual, just basing them off your symptoms. And, a lot of people say, well, I went to Dr. Google and this is what I have. Listen, Dr. Google did not go to medical school.
Right.
Dr. Google did not do residency, did not do an advanced fellowship training. Dr. Google does not know 100% what it is talking about. So I think seeking out a physician that you find you can get a good relationship with, who will listen to you and do the workup accordingly, is your best route. Don't suffer in silence.
Right.
There are physicians like me out there.
Right. That's important to remember because like you were saying, like
Exactly.
there are physicians who will say, no, you're just stressed or you just need more
blow
water.
you off.
Yeah. And I think that's why
Yeah.
Dr. Google comes into play, because Dr. Google
Right.
doesn't say it's all in your head. It's giving you a
Right. No,
diagnosis.
Exactly. So, it's important just to seek out attention. Let your primary care doctor know. Do you know that it's the 7th? IBS is actually the 7th most common diagnosis a primary care physician makes.
Wow.
And they'll try to treat the patients with IBS, but they just know. They know so much about a lot of things, but it's hard for them to master everything. So that's when they try a few things and maybe it doesn't work out. So they're like, listen, I've tried what I know in my toolbox. I'm going to send you down to the gastroenterologist to get more help and evaluation. And remember, in GI, it's in the field of gastroenterology, there are areas of specialty such as irritable bowel syndrome. There's specific dedicated physicians for such, as there is for inflammatory bowel disease.
Okay.
Those are my 2 areas of expertise. So you want to find those doctors. Those are the ones that's their baby. That's why they go into medicine, and that's where they can be most impactful.
Amazing. And that's a perfect segue, because I want to talk to both of you about, your personal experiences. And Dr. Case, I know your personal experience is how you got into your specialty. Can you walk us through that experience and how it led you to medical school and now specializing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Growing up, I had a younger brother who was actually unfortunately diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease, specifically ulcerative colitis at a very, very young age.
Oh, poor thing.
Pan-ulcerative colitis at 6 years old. And I was first familiarized with inflammatory bowel disease, watching my brother and family struggle and him struggle. And it was just so frustrating. And at that time, the only thing they had for inflammatory bowel diseases was prednisone. So my brother was taking so much prednisone. He was blowing up like a balloon. Yeah. I remember my brother always being hungry and waking up in the middle of the night and telling my mom, I'm hungry,
from the steroids.
I'm hungry. And from the steroids. Yeah. And my mom didn't realize, and no one took the time to really explain to her what steroids do, that it will heighten your need and your hunger. Right. And she would tell him, we all just ate dinner. Like, you should be fine. Yeah. And it wasn't go to sleep. And now, she was like, now I know that steroids make people hungry. And I feel so bad. I used to yell at your brother for being hungry. I didn't know. So that kind of was my first introduction to inflammatory bowel disease. And then I went on to undergrad at the University of Michigan, go Blue, where I further was more interested and continued my interest in inflammatory bowel diseases. Then went to medical school at Wayne State in Detroit. Then went to Chicago for my internal medicine training at the University of Illinois at Chicago Medical Center, where I finally decided that I wanted to go into and specialize in IBD. But taking it a step back, when I was an undergrad at the University of Michigan, at the end of my first year, beginning of my sophomore year, I started having the same symptoms as my brother at 17 years old, because I started at the University of Michigan at 16. So
dang, girl.
I was like, yeah, I know. Tell me about it. I was very, very young. Yeah. I started having severe abdominal pain. I started having bloody diarrhea. I was having excessive weight loss, and my mom took me to the same treating gastroenterologist that took on my brother's case. And unfortunately, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis at 17 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say everything you're talking about. It sounds like you see. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was awful. I remember trying to jog on campus and, trying to stay healthy. And then all of a sudden your stomach starts growling and cramping, and you're way far from home, and you have the urgency to have a bowel movement.
The trots.
Yes, the trots. There's been many lost battles of undergarments, to say the least.
Yep. Olivia and I have a story for you too.
So then I was diagnosed myself. And so that brings the familiarity for me with the disease. So when patients come to see me, they're like, you don't understand. Yes, I actually do, because I've been through all of it. Wow. And so that started my personal journey with inflammatory bowel disease and my interest, and also suffering with it, but not becoming a victim to it, actually using it as a tool a tool to push me to want to help others and myself and my brother in learning more about the disease process, and just how we can overcome IBD and not become a victim to it, but use it as a superpower, if you will. So I really, for me at this point in time in my life, I say my IBD is my superpower, believe it or not.
Love it. And that's got to also bring an incredible level of empathy after watching your closest loved one go through it, then going through it yourself, and now seeing your patients. Like, you really do feel what they feel on a very literal level.
Yes, exactly. The things that they're coming in concerned about, or they don't even know yet to be concerned about, I already have the insight because I've already been there. I've already tasted what they're tasting. I've already suffered. And it wasn't that I had just very mild disease. I had disease to the point where I was hospitalized and was at a crossroads in my mid-20s that my treating gastroenterologist sitting in a hospital bed said, Susan, we have to take your colon out.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I really would like to keep my colon.
No, thank you.
Please.
Is there an option to
Please
pass?
Yeah, please and thank you. And it was during my internship in Chicago. And I was like, excuse my French, holy shit, how am I going to do this? And, with the sheer support of another gastroenterologist who said, Susan, like, you're young, you have this optimistic personality, you can get through this. And so with the love and support of my mom, my brother, my father, and that of my gastroenterologist, he was patient with me, patient with the disease. And I took things one day at a time. And that's why I try to tell patients, this disease didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It's not like an infection. We're going to give you medication and it's going to go away overnight. But I promise you, with patience and time in my care, I can get you back to the point where the only time you remember having the disease is actually when you have to take your maintenance medication.
Wow.
So that's where we are with IBD. And the same thing with IBS. It's just getting to the right treating physician, honestly.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Olivia, as a hot girl with IBS as well, I would love for you to also share your experience with stomach problems. When did they start? And was it the same time you became hot?
Definitely the same time I became hot. They go hand in hand for sure.
Walk us through it.
Okay. So I developed IBS. Actually, I was a senior in college. It was our second semester senior year. I was taking an antibiotic called doxycycline, which is like a super common antibiotic. It's
Super
used to
commonly
treat-
prescribed. Yeah.
Like it treats wide range of things. Like I'm pretty sure it treats chlamydia. Going on the record and saying I did not have chlamydia.
But it's okay if you did,
Yeah, shit happens in college.
Exactly.
But
Literally.
no, I was using it. I was treating mild acne because vanity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would say I honestly, details are fuzzy about if it was like immediately after or how long I was on the doxy before I started noticing symptoms that went untreated and like undiagnosed for a while. I would say like at least like a couple years. I wasn't really sure. I mean,
Right. Did you say senior year of high school or college?
College.
Sorry. College. Okay. So we had already,
So
okay.
we were in, it was, I probably started taking it like February, and by May, it was like, what the hell is going on here? So then I think it was like a few years, probably a couple years later, I finally got diagnosed with IBS-D, which is like the diarrhea one.
Yeah.
And that's basically like I was having diarrhea more than like 15 days a month, like things like that,
Yeah.
where it was like, clearly this is not normal.
Normal amount of RIA.
Yeah, this is not right.
Yeah.
So I mean, since then, feel like I've really gotten it under management.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part, I definitely have like serious triggers where I still bloat, and that's like 100% food related.
More of a
But I also-
sensitivity.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But I will never give up my favorite food, so that's just
I
kind
know.
of like
Cheese is life.
I'm just gonna live with this, right? Like you kind of just
Pick your battles.
Yeah, you learn to live with it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And then like finding the right kind of probiotics that worked for me. There's definitely foods that I have to completely avoid, like raw. I know you're the same way with raw red onions.
Yeah, that's my migraine
touch
trigger.
those,
Yeah. Game
I'm
over.
dead.
Game over
Yeah.
with raw red onions. That's
Yeah.
my kryptonite. I will be out of
If
commission.
you ever become a superhero, I'll just
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I become
Give
the,
her red
the
onion.
villain.
She'll be blind for days. Like,
Yeah. So,
yeah, it was like the good Lord said, "You've become too hot for your own good.
hot.
I'm gonna give us some diarrhea."
Too hot. Yeah, it was.
I'm so
it was
sorry.
The doxycycline that put her over the edge.
Shoot.
I know, right? Like it is pretty crazy, and it's like you don't think about things that you're putting in your body. Like when you're 21 especially,
Yeah.
I was like, this is just an antibiotic. What's this going to do to me? And then lo
Right.
and behold, it completely like changed.
Disrupted your whole
Absolutely. Like
yeah.
I had never had, like my sister still is, I feel like we're a perfect case study of someone who has it and then someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
Of like, she
Hi, Liz.
never bloats. Yeah, hey Liz. She never bloats, like nothing, can eat anything she wants. And then I'm over here like fucking dying from a red onion. Like, cool. I mean, cheese and dairy, yeah. Like I will say last night, another shout out, hey Ashley, we went for a walk and we got kale salads and ice cream, like great combination.
Oh,
and those are like a kale
Oh my gosh.
and dairy.
And I
Susan's
said,
like,
yes.
no.
You guys are a ticking time.
Yes, I
bomb.
know, right?
She's like,
Literally
you're a
and
sadist.
figuratively.
Yeah.
God help you.
Right. Like two of the biggest IBS triggers. And those food enzymes that Haley told us about.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Hales. This is like
Yeah,
the third time I've said
seriously.
hello to Haley on the
I
podcast.
feel like we've just said like hi to everyone in this episode.
Yeah, but those enzymes are great.
Those enzymes honestly saved my life. When I
Great.
know I'm going to have a meal like that, that's like, I mean, kale is like so hard to
Kale is a
digest.
death blow to your intestines.
Yeah. And then dairy in general, which I pretty much avoid besides cheese and
Yeah.
like the occasional ice cream. Yeah, I was I was a
custard.
little uncomfortable, but for the most part, like totally fine.
Nice.
If I would have probably not had those enzymes, I would have been like up all night, realistically.
Okay, that's a perfect segue. Thank you for bringing up, enzymes and management. So there are two things that I would love Dr. Case to comment on. One, the antibiotics, and two, some treatments. I feel like maybe starting with the antibiotics, like, is that something that you've
Yeah.
seen a lot of patients come in after they've taken, I don't want to scare people away from medication, but
No,
to be
of
more
course
mindful.
not. Yeah, absolutely. So definitely antibiotics can definitely disrupt your microbiome. And if you've been on a chronic antibiotic, it can definitely disrupt your microbiome to the point where it can possibly tip you into irritable bowel syndrome. And even things like if you have like a viral gastroenteritis and let's say the viral gastroenteritis resolves, right? And you're like, okay, I'm feeling good, getting back to normal. But that's when patients can come in with post-infectious irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, kind of like an aftermath. Okay.
An aftermath. And we don't really know if it's there to stay
Wow.
or if it will eventually subside. Only time will tell.
Okay.
So then when you're talking about irritable bowel syndrome and how does one treat it, we have to go back and look at what are the possible culprits. So like we mentioned, that gut-brain axis dysfunction, dysfunction. So is that what's driving it? So we want to ask about, is there personal stressors in your life? Are you, like I had a patient like say, I have diarrhea every time I go to work, but when I'm on vacation, I feel perfect.
Right.
Well, it sounds like your culprit is your job. So
Stress.
what is it about your job that you don't like? It's stressful. So maybe we need to either change our job and or figure out coping mechanisms by seeing a behavioral therapist or a psychologist, right? So there's one. So then the other thing is for a lot of people, they say, well, geez, when I eat, like you guys said, red onions, like I have explosive, uncontrollable
Volcano.
I mean, volcano eruption, diarrhea. Good night and goodbye, everyone.
Detonation.
May the force be with you.
Oh my gosh.
So then we have to go and say, okay, let's find out if indeed there are food items that are triggering your IBS. So
Right.
we have patients trial what's called the FODMAP diet. Now, again, this is a misnomer, meaning it's really not a diet to be done long term. It should be done with the help, the guidance rather, of a dietitian or nutritionist.
Right.
Hear me out, because it's super complicated.
It's so hard.
It doesn't like, you can look at so many different sources. I'm a physician and even I can't figure out sometimes the foundation of it. So I give my patients the option like, hey, do you want to try to do this at home by yourself? Or would you rather have me set you up with a nutritionist or a dietitian to walk you through what you need to? Because it's not something you're not supposed to avoid all those foods. It's an elimination trial.
It's like a puzzle.
So
we're figuring out.
it's like a puzzle, exactly.
what
So
those
we're
sensitivities
taking
are.
all these things, exactly. We're taking all these different things away, and then we're starting to bring them in slowly. We're keeping a food journal to find out what is it from these items that usually we think are pretty healthy, like garlic, onions, berries, fruits, you name it. There's so many things like, oh my God, I have to avoid all these for the rest of my life. No, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Because that's so overwhelming. I was on it for like
so
a short period of time. And I like cried in my kitchen.
Couldn't eat anything.
Yeah, but see, that's what's happening is people aren't realizing that it's not a diet. It's just a trial to try to identify items that may be triggering it. So, I had a patient, I'll give you an example. I had a patient say, doc, I'm smart. I'm young. I can figure this out. I can get an app. I can read, typical millennial. And I have them come back to the office in about 6 to 8 weeks. And they're like, shit, doc, that was so hard. I don't even know what the heck I was doing. I need to see a nutritionist. Okay. Finally, go to a nutritionist and they do the trial, and the patient comes back and says, you wouldn't believe what is my trigger. And I said, what? They said, watermelon. I have this watermelon salad every freaking day.
No way. Yeah.
Yes. And it was the watermelon.
That's crazy. And you'd never think that.
They took the watermelon away and his IBS was resolved.
Dang.
So this patient's IBS was driven by the food, by watermelon.
So it was a food sensitivity.
It's a food sensitivity. It wasn't a gut-brain axis dysfunction.
Okay.
It wasn't an imbalance in their microbiome. It was specifically a food. Once they eliminated it, the IBS subsided. Now, this patient was like, doc, but I love watermelon. I was like, but it's killing you.
It's killing you.
Well, it's not really killing you, but you know what I mean.
Like
it's
most passionate relationships.
It's killing you slowly. No, it's really disrupting the quality of your life. And I said, well, here's the thing. Now you know what your trigger is. If you're going to eat such, realize that these are the clinical manifestations.
These are the outcomes.
These are the outcomes. Yeah. And if you're okay with it, then okay, by all means, eat it. It's not going to kill you really. So that's the other thing about irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease. Irritable bowel syndrome does not increase your relative mortality, meaning it does not increase your risk of cancer or death. It is more of a quality of life issue. But I mean, your quality of life is so horrific.
Right.
If you can't find what's driving it, you feel like you're dying, right?
Totally.
So we don't want to minimize that. But with inflammatory bowel disease, untreated inflammation that goes along increases one's risk for colon cancer. So there's the difference. IBD increases your mortality. That's why it's very important for both, but for IBD to get on the appropriate therapy to reduce inflammation.
Okay. Good to know.
Then going back to the IBS. So then the third category, like Olivia mentioned, is your microbiome. Like, is your microbiome all screwed up because of, some people come in, it's not because of an antibiotic. They come in with a laundry list of over-the-counter, I don't know what, I'm taking this and this and this. And we have to remember, guys, that these over-the-counter supplements or things that we're seeing on TikTok and or Instagram or whatever, so whatever platform are not they're not regulated at all,
or inspected or evaluated for being clean.
So exactly. So that could disrupt, in addition to antibiotics, could disrupt your microbiome. So it's on us to identify that. And so there are things that we can do as physicians with probiotics that have science behind them.
Right.
And then also medications that we can use that have been FDA approved.
Right.
for the treatment of irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea predominance, which is called Xifaxan, which was an antibiotic that was originally designed for traveler's diarrhea that's only absorbed in your small bowel. You can't develop a resistance to it.
Interesting.
And so I will it's approved for taking this medication 3 times a day for 14 days to try to get your microbiome back in order. And some patients initially, when they start taking the Xifaxan, they're like, holy shit. I literally felt better. I mean, we're talking about poop, so we might as well get to say shit on the air, right? Come on, it goes with the territory.
Bring on the shit.
Bring on the shit. Let the shit roll. And usually it rolls down and not up. But on some occasions. So it can be treated. So 14 days. So patients will either start it and be like, have immediate response to it, or they finish the course and they're like, I thought I wasn't going to have a response, but then like a week later, wow, it finally kicked in. And you can do this course of antibiotics. The FDA has approved it for, you can do a 14-day course twice a year for irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea predominance.
Okay, wow.
So you can have one of those 3 things causing your IBS, or 2 or all 3. And it's up to the physician and the patient to sort that out.
Okay, so it's case by case.
It's case by case, but those are the 3 major contributors.
Okay.
But did you guys know that, which this is the most, it's not surprising, but it still to me is surprising, is that do you know the number 1 treatment for IBS's?
No. Tough it out?
It's heavy. No, absolutely not.
I'm kidding.
Absolutely not, Dominique. No, you tough it out. That's what we're at. That's what us physicians are here for, like me.
No.
It's actually establishing a healthy patient-physician relationship is what ultimately results in improvement, being heard, listened to, acknowledged,
validated,
not minimized.
Sure.
So like initially I'll see patients on a very regular basis because we're trying to figure this out.
Right.
Once we figure it out and once they know they have a doctor that is listening to them, is validating them, not minimizing them, we hit the nail on the head. And guess what, guys? I don't see them again for a very long time unless something happens to them and triggers it. And we want to make sure, or there's something different with their symptoms than what before, but I don't see them ever again. So it's not which really, really frustrates me is a lot of times physicians will want to blow these patients off. Right. They're like, okay, come on, I don't want to deal with this. It's like crybaby. No, it's not a crybaby. These are real symptoms that these patients need help. And if you give them the appropriate time, attention, workup, they can get better. And then, they're off to the races.
Wow. Validation is medicine. You heard it here from a doctor.
Yes.
Yes.
We love to hear it.
Really doing the Lord's work.
You really are doing the Lord's work right now. I love this. Okay, so we also brought up those enzymes, which are really popular right now. Not just the ones that we're taking, but we got them from like a specific like We Care spa. But I know that in general, and I know you've seen this like all over TikTok.
What are these? Honestly, I have not. What are these enzymes? I've been a little bit off of my TikTok game because I've been
probably for the best.
I don't even have TikTok.
No, I love my TikTok source of information. You got to know what's going on out there on the streets.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give you the lowdown. Basically, these have become a very, very popular supplement. And I'm guessing it's because of the but the rise in awareness around IBS, IBD, food sensitivities. They're enzymes that help you digest your food. I have mixed feelings because I personally don't want to have to take a pill to eat food. Like that to me just like doesn't sit right. But I also can see the purpose, right? Like Olivia just said she took these when she was having the kale and the ice cream and she didn't have, volcano night.
Exactly. Yeah, right. I feel like it's not something that you want to take for
all the
every
time.
Meal.
Yeah.
I know I take them when I know I'm going to have a really heavy meal or something that usually upsets my stomach.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we know what is in these enzymes, ladies?
I'm guessing probably like, what is it? Bromelain, like from pineapple.
Yeah, bromelain.
Dandelion's for
yeah, that's not an enzyme,
bloating, right?
but it's like a root.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something that starts with a C. Honestly, I read the ingredients and I was like, I have no idea.
I'm going to look this up while you're talking.
Okay. So basically, if you take one of these, like if you're taking one of these supplements, I guess, so bromelain is derived from a pineapple and it can be used to aid in digestion. It's not going to hurt you. So why are you taking a pill? Why don't you just eat pineapple?
Ooh.
And there's also added benefits from cantaloupe, for example.
Oh, I've got the ingredients if you want them.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep, sure. Go for it.
Amylase, neutral protease. Protease.
Okay, protease.
Lactase, lipase, cellulase. So it sounds like enzymes with all the A's.
Yeah.
And then it says all ingredients are plant-based, non-GMO, organic, no artificial flavors or stabilizers. Take 3 to 5 capsules with each meal.
Oof. Okay. So basically, you just take. So basically, what you're doing is just taking a little bit more of the natural enzymes that your body would produce naturally.
Okay, you're just giving it a boost.
You're giving it a little bit of a boost.
Okay.
But I'm glad we're not taking anything
crazy,
super fucking random.
Yeah, I mean, Haley recommended it, so it's got to be legit.
I trust Haley.
I do too.
So if you're having like a really, really a heavy meal or something that you feel could cause some GI distress, taking those kinds of enzymes won't necessarily, should be okay for the most part, but you want to discuss it with your treating physician always.
Okay.
But if you want a more natural and you want to get those ingredients actually as natural as one can,
for sure, always
just eat pineapple.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, I have a question because I get IBS symptoms from pineapple and also cantaloupe immediately. Cantaloupe, I'm like,
oh, really?
Gotta go.
So for you, those two, you should avoid.
Right? Yeah. Which I do. I completely do, which is really sad. I can have.
Because you love pina coladas.
I fucking love pina colada.
Yeah, and a Dole Whip.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, a pina colada, it depends. Because if it's blended like that, it's the actual
like the
physically
fibers
eating of the pineapple. But
Interesting.
cantaloupe, I haven't touched cantaloupe in years because
you're not missing much.
Oh yeah,
I know, right? It's kind of like a sad fruit.
I think like in America, it doesn't taste good.
Yeah,
I don't know. Honeydew, not my fave. More dew, less honey.
For real though. Okay, so like unless it's a sensitivity, you could be eating like melon or pineapple to just boost your digestion if you just need a little boost.
Or you could be taking in ginger or peppermint. Those are all very soothing to the GI tract.
I crush ginger.
Yeah,
to the point
There
where
you
my
go.
mom came over. This was maybe like 6 months ago. I just always have like ginger chews and like fresh ginger. She came over and straight up asked me if I was pregnant and feeling
nauseous.
Yeah, I'm feeling nauseous, and I was like,
no.
Because that's what we give. That's what we give pregnant females when a lot of times when they're feeling nauseous, because we don't want to give them the
like
Zofran
antiemetic.
during. Yeah. If we can get away with just as ginger, why the heck not?
And
right?
ginger is like such a wonder drug and like a plant.
It is.
love.
It is amazing. I can't agree more.
So we covered some really good ground, like medically and logistically. Now, in the spirit of breaking even more stigmas, as we've been doing this whole time, getting women comfortable talking about pooping, I would love for you guys to just share some stories. Who wants to kick it off first?
Oh my gosh. I will kick it off first.
Great.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So what I wanted to say was, before we go on, is that we've talked about IBD and IBS as separate entities.
Right.
But a person can have IBD and overlapping IBS.
Ouch.
You can have both, which I have both.
Oh, no.
Yes. The Lord gives and the Lord takes.
He just has to humble this hot
Lord
woman.
is not always good with both hands.
Exactly. So
He made us hot.
Yeah.
He made us hot.
At least I'm pretty.
Oh my God. I can't believe I'm going to share this story, but this story literally just happened to me.
Oh my God.
Like a week ago on Saturday. No, less than a week ago. Oh my gosh. This is so embarrassing, but I'm going to share it just because in the space of living our authentic lives, and being very transparent. So me and my girlfriend, we were in Nashville, Tennessee for a speakers training conference, learning about a new medication that's coming out for the treatment of inflammatory bowel disease by AbbVie.
So on theme.
And so on point, right? And we're like, we finished the day and we had some time to kill before going to the airport. We're like, you know what? We're in Nashville. We need to get us some hot, spicy chicken. Or like, heck yeah. Hello.
I know where this is going.
When in Nashville, eat the spicy chicken.
Yeah.
So we are told to go to this amazing spot called BJ's Hot Chicken.
Okay.
And we go there with our suitcases and all, and we're like super excited. We order our hot, spicy chicken meals and, we're enjoying them. And they were delicious. And then we're like, what about some of their homemade ice cream? I was like, it's a hot
the kiss of death.
Day. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Okay. Eating my ice cream. We do a little selfie Instagram post with this really cute BJ's hot chicken wing wall thing. We get into our Uber and we're only 11 minutes away from the airport.
No.
We're in the airport. My stomach starts growling and I'm thinking to myself, oh,
I know the feeling.
I was like, oh shit.
I have chills.
I was like, oh no, am I going to make it?
It's happening.
I'm dying. It's happening inside, internally. I'm not even telling my friend yet, but inside I'm like, it's happening.
The panic.
The panic, in Bridesmaids.
Yes, it's happening. Oh my God.
My friend looks at me. She goes, Susan, are you okay? Because
you're like sweating.
I'm like sweating.
Oh shit.
And by the way, my friend's name is Carly. Hi, Carly. I love you. And so the Uber driver goes, which airline are you ladies taking? And I was like, I'm on Delta. And she was like, I'm on Southwest. And I was like, which one comes first?
Get me out of this car.
Exactly. He goes, well, it's a small airport. I'll put you guys right in the middle.
No.
Like, okay.
No.
Good luck.
My friend was like, please just drop us off closest to her location. So we get out. I give her a hug. I was like, I have to go.
I gotta go.
Like, I know.
No hugs, just run.
No hugs. I love you. Bye.
Hot chicken was hot all the way through.
And then that ice cream. Oh my God.
Oh,
I think
man.
that was the tipping point, ladies.
Yeah.
The true cherry on top.
The kiss of death.
So I'm like, have this panic in my face. And I see the first airport representative like, sir,
bathroom.
Where is your restroom? He's like, downstairs to the left. I was like, oh
sprinting.
My God, I am not going to. I was like, Lord, please. My cheeks don't fail me.
My cheeks don't fail me now.
It's like, okay, I'm going down the escalator. It's like, I can't run down the escalator. I'm like squeezing my butt cheeks so tightly.
Oh my God.
And when you see the bathroom at the end, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then your anal sphincter's like, oh my God, relief. You're like, not yet. Sweet baby Jesus. Not yet.
I'm crying.
God, we've been there.
Please tell me you made it to the toilet.
Yeah.
Please.
I did not make it.
No.
I did not make it. Some happened to manage its way to get out.
No.
But luckily, I lost an underwear, but I had other ones in my carry-on.
Oh, move. Thank God. Oh my God.
It was so embarrassing because my friend Carly, she was like, did you make it? I was like, one underwear down.
Oh my God. So technically you did make it. I feel like this is a success story.
No, I did not make it. I lost an underwear.
I hope you threw away that underwear.
I sure did. It was
Sure did. R.I.P. underwear.
R.I.P. We've lost some good underwear out there.
Some fallen soldiers.
Pour some out.
My friend was like, Carly, she was like, well, it was well worth it. I said, I would have to agree.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Sometimes you just gotta do it. You just gotta know it's coming,
just like,
right?
you take your... And you know what's really funny, you guys? When I came in to the Nashville airport, and I always am looking for restrooms. You know, as an IBS warrior, I like to know where the restrooms are at all times.
You got to ID them immediately.
Like we're
I
looking
have
at your
to
exes.
ID them. Where the hell are they? And so I was like, oh my gosh, I noticed that there were not enough readily available restrooms. And I was concerned. See?
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I didn't make it to the restroom.
Oh my gosh. I just started seeing like an in memoriam like flash before my eyes of like all the fallen underwear soldiers.
Absolutely. I need to piggyback off that real
Okay.
I wasn't going to tell this story because Dom and I have like a combo story that I feel like we should tell after, but this one
The
is
grand finale.
arguably one of my top 3 worst moments with IBS.
Oh God.
Okay.
Here it goes.
Shout out to my husband, Bryn. He was there for this one. Okay. So we had come back. We had just done a road trip from Salt Lake City, or like Deer Valley area, and to South Dakota, saw Mount Rushmore, did a national park stuff.
this.
We had come back. We had some time at my parents' house in Deer Valley. So we're like, all right, let's go do a little walk, hike situation. And of course, on a road trip, you're eating just a bunch of snacks. I honestly don't even remember what I had eaten that day. But it was like chips. It was things that way too much junk food. I guarantee combos, like, combos, they're like stuffed little pretzel things stuffed with cheese.
Pretzels?
Oh
those
my
were
God.
definitely
They're so good,
so
but so bad for
good.
you.
But they're like
Horrible
bullets
for
to your gut.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, anything that you can find at a gas station or a convenience store is going to be awful for you,
It's going to
right?
result in toilet time.
It's just not going to be good.
Yeah.
So we're on this lovely walk, and probably about like, we're walking in one direction, and my stomach starts just like completely cramping up. And I kind of was like, okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. We're going to turn around. I'm going to be fine. Sometimes this happens, right? So we turn around. It's getting worse and worse and worse to the point where I can like barely
Breathe.
barely step. And I turned to Brandon and I said, there's no way I'm making it to a bathroom. Like, I am not making it to a bathroom. So we're on this path. It's happening. We're on this path. It is like fields. It is fields on either side, but you can see a main road.
Amber waves of grain.
There's people. Like, we have passed many people. No, I would say we passed at least 10 to 15 people.
No.
And like in either direction when we're walking. And I said, he was like, Olivia, there might be a bathroom like in that barn up there. Can you make it to the barn? I said, absolutely not.
No.
I'm not making it to that barn.
No.
So I was like, you know what, Bryn? You got to watch me. I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And we've talked about this since. And he's like, what was I supposed to do if someone like walked by? Like, sorry, my wife's just shitting in a stream right now. So yeah, we find a stream.
Oh my God.
So I pulled out my pants. Bryn refers. This is like maybe too graphic. Bryn refers to this poop as the poop pancake because it just went full like flat into this like the stream with no water. So I poop. I stand up and I'm looking at it. I was like, oh God, like I was like, maybe people will think it's an animal poop. And Bryn goes, there is no way anyone is gonna like people are gonna walk by and be like, what is that?
It's Satan's work.
So I take, this is truly the cherry on top. I take a rock and I just stick a rock on top of the poop. And I was like, all right, we gotta go. Just keep walking, keep
going.
Anyway, we're walking. We make it to the barn. The barn was maybe 100 yards away. There is a bathroom in the barn. And I straight up could not get to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
It happened.
Right? It was like
it happens.
That was
you
I
just
actually
can't
think that
make
was
it.
Number one top. Like could not make it. Didn't lose my underwear because I was able to pull down my pants and like but
You made it out.
I made it out, but he'll never let me live that down. Like I think he referenced it last week and he was like, do you remember the poop pancake in Park City? And I was like, I'm never going to forget that. Like it was.
How could I forget the
was
most traumatizing
ingrained.
moment of my life?
That is a core memory right there.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Do you guys get the mouth sweats? Like when you start like cramping up and it's like your mouth is just like watery?
Yeah.
It's like a core symptom,
Yes,
I think, when I get
sure.
that. Yeah. So you know that every time I run and I don't train, it does not end well for me. So Olivia and I have done multiple charity races at Disney World. And some of them I neglect to adequately train.
Well, the first one, this was our first one, right? Where we were, we both did not train for this.
Yeah. So this is like self-inflicted pain.
Yeah. I fucked up. You fucked up.
Yeah, we fucked up. We learned the hard way that you might need Imodium for a race. But I had done a bunch of races before. But the fact that it happened to both of us simultaneously. So, okay, we're just going to get into it. We decided to run it's a 10K or 15K?
It was 10, which like now in retrospect, we should easily be able to do that. But I think we were just so...
We're like amped. You have to get up at like 2 a.m.
So early. It was a perfect storm, honestly.
And usually, and I know this is like maybe, again, the kiss of death, but usually before a race, I drink coffee to make myself go before I run because I don't want to have like junk in my gut while I'm bouncing around. But with the Disney race in particular, it's so early that my body is physically not ready to shit.
Not ready.
So instead of just like letting it go after one cup of coffee, I was like, guess I got to drink another one.
Oh, no.
That's where things started going downhill. I don't know how it affected you. Well, because you actually have like IBS. So
I pooped 3 times before that race. Do you remember? I had to keep running to the porta potties, and you were like, "Why can't I poop?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I gotta go again."
So like you had already like started. You were literally off to the races. Yes. My body was like, "We're not awake yet," and I was like, "This is not going to end well."
Yeah, Dominique, your colon was technically still sleeping.
Yeah, sleepy colon, like Sleeping Beauty at Disney World, like sleeping booty.
I'm not awake yet.
So we're running this race, and I want to say around, gosh, maybe it was mile 6, like toward the end, right? So the back half, and
oh dear,
we're both not feeling good. I'm in so much pain. I'm like almost waddle running, like
it was
like a fast walk because I'm like I'm in pain. I can't do this here. We need to just get through, go to the end. You were like crampy.
I was crampy, but didn't think it was going to end how it ended.
Neither of us could have anticipated the
outcome of this.
The aftermath.
Tragic day.
the fuckery that ensued. So RIP to the bathroom at the Animal Kingdom Lodge where we were staying in our room. This is a true test of friendship intimacy in which neither of us were able to wear pants. And we had to share a toilet back and forth.
We were alternating shitting on the toilet.
It was musical chairs.
Probably, 3 hours?
For like hours. Musical chairs with one toilet. Like,
oh my gosh.
So like we barely made it back to the hotel.
You had to go to the lobby bathroom, remember?
No, I don't remember because I blacked
gosh.
out with just fear and shame.
Yeah. We made it.
God.
We made it to the lobby bathroom. And
for
then,
round 1. Okay. Yeah, I clearly do not remember that. Like
it was so close.
It's a blacked out memory.
You made it to a bathroom.
Wow,
yeah,
but you
true.
didn't shit in a stream. So.
Yeah, I didn't shit in a stream. I didn't lose the underwear this time around, but we did like literally pants-free musical chairs, door open.
Oh gosh!
Yep.
Please tell me you guys had poop potpourri. Please
No,
tell me you had
like,
some poop potpourri.
We had nothing.
Honestly, I think
You
we're
had
just
nothing.
like so past that point in our friendship where it's like
Like
it is what it is.
the door wasn't even closed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like it was just like we're just basically like naked, alternating toilet time. And then at one point, like one of us was on the toilet, one of us was showering, and then alternated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's been
That
it's
is
been
some
a
true
journey.
friendship. That is some true friendship. Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
it really it brings you
It's
closer.
really bonding. It's that's really bonding at its core.
The friends who have violent, explosive diarrhea together.
Stay together. You heard it here.
You heard it here first. Wow, we're really just what a gift we're offering to society right now.
Yes. I mean, let us talk about our poop. Come on.
Yes.
This is good stuff.
And then I'm going to go back to pretending I'm like Sailor Moon Powerpuff Girl, like everything is fine
Exactly.
in rainbows. Like,
Yes. I love Powerpuff Girls, by the way. They're the best.
So do I. I can't wait for the live action.
oh my gosh, so excited.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I have a feeling that we've probably worn out our stay with some of these listeners.
Yeah, they're probably like, I was done after the hot chicken and ice cream.
The hot chicken story was enough.
Come on, Nashville hot chichicken. Come on,
Yeah,
you guys.
I get it.
Like not, I want to be clear that I'm not laughing at anyone's pain, but these stories are hilarious.
No,
They
they
are.
are hilarious. You can listen, like I said, don't let your disease, whether it's IBS or IBD or any chronic illness for that matter, be, cripple you or be a victim to it. You can turn it around and make it your superpower. I'm an example. I am a living example of that. Was it easy? No. But you know what? There's one thing that my father instilled in me was, as long as you smile, the world will smile back at you. And come on, let's laugh more together. I think the world needs that. And we can get through anything. If you can share a poop story on a podcast and have no fear, you can do anything in this world.
Yes, amen. Amen, sister.
Here for it.
That was such a perfect place to just wrap it up. Seriously,
Yes.
Susan, Dr. Case, Olivia, you're both treasures. Thank you for
You are
sharing
too.
your poopy
fun.
stories. I think this
love
is going to
poop.
help people. So thank you.
I think so too. Absolutely. I'd love to do this again in the future. Let's talk about
Yes.
poop next time, ladies.
Let's do
I love
it.
it.
Okay, thanks you guys.
Thanks, Dom.
All right, well, if you've made it this far, congratulations. I never thought I'd be telling stories like this publicly, but it's a sacrifice to my image that I am willing to make. A sacred privilege to shepherd women into a place of freedom and liberation from the shackles of the girls don't poop myth. In the words of Japanese children's book writer Taro Gomi, everyone poops. If you're ready to be done with this conversation and eager to move on to a new topic, get excited. Or should I say, take a deep breath. We've got a guided breathwork session ready for you, along with some intel on how simply breathing, deeply of course, can impact your health. Inhale. Exhale. We'll see you next week. A bientôt. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of This Is Fine. I've been your host, Dominique Michelle Astorino. We're based in San Diego, recording in studio at DLI Productions in Pacific Beach with Emmy Award-winning sound designer Dan De La Isla. This is a comedy and advice podcast, but for legal reasons, this entire podcast is a joke and none of it is medical advice. To download the transcript or learn more, visit thisisfinepodcast.com.